Hello and welcome to UEFA Nations League Match Day 2. Of course, we are here to analyze the games we have on Monday and Tuesday to close this international break, and we have our dream team. Alvaro, Romeo, Dani Fisichella for a last dance. Dani very happy with Italy beating France away. Alvaro also very happy. Spain beating Switzerland away, so now it's time to make some money. We have some games to analyze, some good games. Actually, Netherlands, Germany, France, Belgium, for instance, some other random ones. So we want to know your opinion. Let us know what you think about these games. Ask any question to Alvaro, to Dani. We have Finland, for instance, and Dani is a big fan of Pukki. I don't know if he's still in the team, by the way, but we will know about it very soon. So ask any question to them. And now let's go on with the show. And first one is France, Belgium in the Groupama Stadium. It's an important game, I wouldn't say for France, but for the champs, because French supporters are not very happy after what they saw in the Euros. France was unable to score goals in the Euros, and then you are playing at home against Italy. You scored in the first minute, Barcola, again, the best player, and they were overplayed by Italy. Another defeat. It doesn't put the chances not in a good situation ahead of this game. Belgium won, as we expected, at home against Israel. As I said, Alvaro, some pressure for the champ. I wouldn't put my money on France right now.
I don't know what to say. I saw France and Belgium in the Euros, and Belgium was terrible. They had a good counter-attack with Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne linking up front, but then the manager Tedesco, for me, he was the biggest plonker of the Euros, really. He played against France, I remember, with Kevin De Bruyne and one more playing as holding midfielders only, and that is not sustainable against the team of the quality of France. And I think that Belgium doesn't have a good manager. We spoke in the previous show about only 3 managers out of 24 leaving their team after the Euros, which is not a lot. And Tedesco should have left. I think he doesn't have the quality to be the coach of this team. And I am totally on board with Didier Deschamps narrative. I think that he is a manager whose cycle may be over in France. France is also a team that is quite rigid and doesn't have many creative outlets. Only Antoine Griezmann is the player who can do that, but in the past they had more players who had a really good foot and a lot of technique just to find the spaces. I'm talking about Zidane, but I'm also talking about 𝐬𝐭𝐿𝐴, or I'm also talking about Valbuena in 2014. Right now, French football is either doesn't produce these players or Didier Deschamps doesn't want to cap them. But for this game, I think France is favourite. Number one, we have to say that France has suffered 2 defeats in a row. True. That's why I understand the reservations about France for this game. Last time they suffered 3 defeats in a row was in 2013, even though those were friendlies, or a few of them were friendlies. But still, I think France is better, has better players, and don't get me wrong. I think that Belgium, for example, against Israel, showed that in midfield they've got powerful scoring players, like, for example, Youri Tielemans or Kevin De Bruyne, who scored the brace. Youri Tielemans scored against Israel, but then the team is very unbalanced. There are a few players in there, like Openda, Wout Faes, Timothy Castagne, even, who is not even starting games lately, who, tell you that Belgium doesn't have the depth that France has. So France is more competent, and I think that they are going to win this game. France to win 189, otherwise, it could be kind of a safe bet to go for a nation handicap minus 0.25 for France, 155.
Well, Openda was great in the win against Leverkusen by Leipzig, RB Leipzig, before the international break. Dani, you were not impressed by France, I guess. Alvaro was reminded us. Of course, we saw this game in the Euros was a very short score, 1-0. Vertonghen scored in own goal in the last minutes of that game.
Well, they impressed me in the first 20 minutes when they set the rhythm against Italy, and they were very quick off the mark. As the game went on, it was clear that Spalletti had a better tactical setup than Deschamps, also because neither Mbappé or Barcola or on the other side 𝐬𝐽𝐽 were willing to run in behind, and Italy had the numerical advantage in midfield. So it was a question of time before they assert dominance. It was a disappointing performance from Deschamps from France. I don't remember Donnarumma having to make some great saves when Italy then took the lead. Belgium, on the other hand, a strong start, 3-1 win against Israel. They were, of course, dominating, but this is a group that is difficult. And, if you finish in the bottom two, you risk being relegated in League B. But not only that thing, is going to have some ramification in the World Cup qualifiers and possibly the next Euro qualifiers, because some of these teams, maybe France not, but one between Belgium and Italy risks not to be a seeded team in the next few draws. Maybe, as I said, not the World Cup, but the next Euro. So it's very important for the nation to take it really, really seriously. I think France is going to try to tighten up the back, first of all. Probably the introduction of 𝐿𝐭𝐚𝐲 and Upamecano. In midfield, they will look a little bit short. Fofana and Kante don't look a great partnership. Of course, they were without Camavinga, without 𝐬𝐻𝐚𝐻, so this has to be said. On the other hand, France have had always a very good record against Belgium. They won the last three wins, keeping clean sheet in 5 of the last 7. We remember seeing that very drab game at the Euros, 1-0 win with an own goal. But I think this is going to be different. Look, I don't particularly fancy France to score an awful lot of goals. In qualifiers, they've struggled. In the last Nations League, they lost 2 home games. I don't think Mbappé playing through the middle is the best position for him, but they don't have a centre forward unless they trust Marcos Thuram, who started the Serie A so well with Inter. Both need to score for me. 185. I think there is a value. Not necessarily an awful lot of goal here, but I think Belgium can hurt them.
Okay, we saw a very close game in the Euros, but Danny is going for both teams to score. Harry is going actually for a 2-2 draw, and Gaming, another of our friends, is going for over 2.5 goals. Hopefully, we see a good game in the Groupama Stadium. Alvaro?
I don't think the game in the Euros was that close, really. I was covering it, and I know that Belgium was close in the scoreline, but their tactics were suicidal. And at the end, France just, even without trying much, they won that game easily. That's what I want to say. France cannot score from open play. I mean, in the Euros, they only scored 1 goal from open play against Spain. That was Colomboani. But against Belgium, they didn't have to do anything. The game was, or the wing was just coming up, and it came up. I think that Belgium has to sort out the midfield. Against Israel, at least, they played with Onana and Tielemans at the base, and then Kevin De Bruyne helping. But if they play with 2 midfielders, as they did in the Euros 2 months ago, France is going to destroy them.
Well, Kevin De Bruyne, by the way, highlighting the problems of this schedule and the calendar. Very busy. The players cannot perform well every 3 days with the national team, with the clubs, and it's going to be a problem with so many injury issues as we are having again in this start of the season 24-25. In this group, we have Italy, Israel. Italy surprised us. We were saying, Danny, in your absence in our previous video, that it's been a long time without seeing a good performance of Italy, probably since the Euros with Mancini. But finally, they put together a great performance against France with Di Marco scoring probably one of the goals of the year. What a volley. Also Fratesi and Raspadori scoring in this game, and now they have to go to Budapest. In this case, this game is going to be played in Hungary and win again to make the perfect start in this Nations League. What has changed from this Spalletti team to the one we saw at the Euros? Very disappointing one, by the way.
Spalletti did a mea culpa, eat the humble pie, and understood that he made a lot of wrong decisions this summer in terms of preparation and tactical setup, and reverted to the most logical formation for this Italy side, a back 3 with the wing backs. Italy are blessed with midfielders. There are a few wing backs that are also really good. What they don't have is firepower up front, and they don't have wide players at the moment that can play in the 4-3 formation that Spalletti would like. So going back to a back three gives them more solidity, puts some of the players in the right position, the likes of Calafiori, Bastoni, as well as the three-man midfield. And it gives the opportunity for Italy to dominate the play and switch from right to left as they did against France. Look, the beginning was shocking, considering after 30 seconds, they did even worse than against Albania. But then slowly, they grew up into the game. Where it comes the merit to Spalletti is to give the opportunity to three midfielders, Ricci, who's very young and plays for Torino, Tonali, who hasn't played in the last year because of the betting ban, and Frattesi, who's a reserve in Inter, the start for Italy. And they were absolutely magnificent, all of them. Tonali was great in occasion of Di Marco's goal, but everyone really played well. And in the second half, when Pellegrini had to come out, Spalletti put an attacker like Raspadori, who repaid him with a goal. Now, look, I'm going to be very curious to see now Italy in this match, because this is a match when you have to attack, where you are expected to dominate the ball. And I think when you are in a bit of a crisis, it's easier to revert to a 3-5-2 and to wait and to soak up the pressure. This is going to be a test of Italy's patience against an Israel side that is nowhere near the quality of Italy, but it could be difficult, if you like, because, you know, it's a team that still arrived in the playoff of the Euro qualifiers, although since they had to play in Budapest, they only won 1 out of the last 5 games. Historically, Italy have dominated this game, win all the recent ones, actually never lost against them. But, you know, there are a couple of Israeli players, for example, the likes of Gluck, Bilton, Perez. They're young. Is a team that did well a couple of years ago in the under-21 championship. So possibly they could give Italy some troubles. They missing the top goal scorer, though, Israel, Zahawi. So again, it's all on the shoulders of Manor Solomon, but also Italy are also missing a couple of players. I don't see a high-scoring game here. I think Italy were good against France, deserved the win. The 3-1 victory is a little bit large, I guess. And I don't think it's going to be a large Italy win either. I'm going to go against the logic here, and I fancy Israel on the Asian handicap plus 175, 180, which means if Italy wins by 1 goal margin, you win the stake. If Italy wins 2-0 or 3-1, you only win half a stake. Look, this is an Italy still in transition. You need to be really cautious here with bettings, considering how much favorite they are.
Okay, well, Israel caught a couple of good results in the Euro qualifiers, draws against Switzerland or Romania, for instance. Danny thinks they are not going to get thrashed. Alvaro, what is your take?
I think Italy is going to win it. And I'm going to go for a win 2-0 for Italy. I think the money can be there. It pays 220. I could go for a clean sheet for Italy, 191. And yeah, it's in the region of true as well. If I want to spice it up a little bit, as I said, win 2-0 for Italy, 220. Italy had a good display against France. I like that. Great to see Tonali back. He's been playing minutes for Newcastle United already. Di Marco's goal is terrific, but the pass from Tonali to Di Marco is fantastic as well. I like Retegui. I think that Retegui will never be a super footballer, but he offers Italy a few things that are very, very welcome in that team. And number one, he is very combative. He's very pugnacious. He moves very good without the ball. His acceleration in short spaces is pretty decent as well. And he's scoring a good amount of goals. Right now, I think he has scored 3 for Torino at the beginning of the Lega Serie A. And I think that he gives Italy the possibility of playing long balls. And he has this ability that some strikers have to be sometimes a little bit undetectable. I think that he detaches himself very well from the game, and then he appears in the second post. He was about to score a goal like this against France, by the way, with the header. He makes the defender lose the mark very well. I think Retegui, as I said before, he's not going to be a top footballer, but at this moment in time, he is very useful for Italy. And then having Raspadori coming from the bench is always a good asset. I wonder, Danny, if Di Lorenzo can make many more mistakes for Italy, by the way, because I saw him in the Euros and I wasn't too convinced. Then with Nico Williams, he suffered a lot in the game against Spain. And the other day, playing as a third centre back in a three-man defense. He lost the ball, and understandably, to Barcola. What's going on with Di Lorenzo right now?
It's no longer the Di Lorenzo that we saw at Napoli winning the Scudetto. Probably that was his peak, and that's why he's no longer playing as a right back, but more as a fair defender. But I think he still needs to adapt there. I mean, he's never been playing that position. Conte is playing that position at Napoli, but I wonder if Italy is going to have a problem in that position, right center defender, because the alternative, you need somebody able to play with the ball, and obviously Di Lorenzo is good going forward. Look at the goal he scored against Parma, for example, in the league with a fantastic 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲. But I think in defensive side, but also it's a concentration issue. And after 13 seconds, it's not much about your quality as a footballer. It's about if you're switched on or not. Clearly, he didn't know where to pass, so he needs to work on that as well. I mean, not that he needs to work; he's a professional footballer, but he needs to be more aware.
To raise his attention a little bit, but attention levels. But anyway, I think that Israel playing in a neutral venue changes the whole thing for me, really. That's why I'm going to back Italy. Israel, yes, they were kind of competitive in the Euro qualifiers, but they had a very easy group. Switzerland was the big seeded team in that group. And in the last year, Israel has beaten Belarus twice and Andorra, but they have lost against the likes of Romania, Kosovo, Hungary, Iceland. So this is right now their level. So I'm going to go for a win 2-0 for Italy. I know that I'm taking a little bit of a risk here, but Israel doesn't have good scorers right now.
All right. Elias is going with you, Alvaro. Mr. Accurate. He is calling you.
Sometimes.
Next game is going to be Norway, Austria in Oslo. This group, every team has 1 point. We saw draws in the Norway, Kazakhstan in this case, and Austria against Slovenia. In Norway, we saw Haaland, we saw Sorloth, we saw Odegaard, and still no goals. This national team is not clicking, Alvaro. They have a great generation, but we haven't seen them in big scenarios.
Yeah, in all fairness, they should have won the last game because they hit the post 3 times. Erling Haaland hit it as well in the second half. And yes, they've got a decent goalkeeper like Nyland, 2 good strikers, Sorloth and Erling Haaland, and one of the best creators in the Premier League, Martin Odegaard, but still doesn't quite work. Erling Haaland hasn't scored like really remarkable and important games in international football yet. Yes, he did score against the Netherlands a few years ago. Yes, he did score against Slovakia. I'm mentioning these 2 because they were former European champions, and Haaland has scored against these 2, but his goals with Norway normally come against lesser opposition, and rightly so, because Norway is always involved in League Bs or League Cs in the Nations League. But still, I think that the goal of Erling Haaland is coming up, because he has scored a goal per game for his national team. He has played 34 games. He has scored 31 goals. I think that the numbers are exactly those. So I'm going to back Erling Haaland to score here, 2.2, mainly because Austria is a team that plays but lets you play. They've got an element of naivety around them. Ralf Rangnick hasn't been able to, or maybe never wanted to make Austria a solid team. I think that Austria is about making mistakes, but also provoking mistakes on you. Many players push forward. Some players have to run back very quickly because the opponent has many counterattacks against them. We saw the game, for example, against the Netherlands in the Euros. Austria won it, but anything could have happened in that game because Austria is a team that opens the door for you and invites you. So I think that Haaland to score would be my favorite pick here, 2.2, and then let's wait and see. When it comes to the outright odds, everything is possible. So I'm not going to make a gamble. It's true that maybe Norway can be a slightly favorite to me, but still I prefer to focus in the individual market in this game.
Still good odds to back Austria. Somehow Norway lost to Spain or Scotland, for instance, in the road to the Euros. Danny, what do you think about this one? Norway always disappoint us, actually.
I think Austria is stronger. Austria is a team that was relegated from Nations League A. It was a very tough group with France, Denmark, and Croatia. And Ralf Rangnick took them halfway through and improved them quite a lot. They advanced through the knockout stage in the Euros as group winners. And Norway, on the other hand, are in crisis. Only one win in 5 games. And we mentioned Haaland failed to score in 5 of the last 7 international appearances. Yes, probably a goal is due for him. But Austria have a good record against Norway, have won 2-1 in Oslo in Nations League in 2020, drew 1-1 at home. Norway has only beaten Austria once in 2002 in a friendly. So I think they got a fair deal of good results on their sides. But they got a few injuries as well. They were without Alaba, they are without Gregorish, so probably Baumgartner comes into the place to replace Patrick Winmer. But I do see Austria as a better, more compact team with more solutions, more creative solutions. I think the way he gets them to Rangnick gets them to play, and some of the cutbacks and the way they get to the byline, they got more weapons to their armors. I do fancy them not to get beaten. Asian handicap plus 0.25 on Austria. So if they draw, you win half a stake. Probably this is an X2. I don't see why Norway should be considered so favorite.
All right, Norway draw no bet. I think 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐿 is telling us over 2.5 goals, and Austria most cards for Harry. Well, in League B, Group 4, we are gonna stop in Turkey. We have Turkey, Iceland here. Iceland beat Montenegro 2-0. Turkey drew with Wales away. Arda Güler picked up a small injury or a problem in that game. Well, Turkey super favorites was one of the teams that we really enjoyed in the Euros with Vincenzo Montella on the bench. Danny, Turkey, still with Turkey. They changed their name.
Well, I think Turkey are in a good moment. They were entertaining to watch at the Euros. They do like to commit a lot of players forward. It's a team that's got a lot of shots, a lot of corners. The games are always seem to be played like if they were a final. The game against Georgia, for example, game against Austria, the Euros. They were highly, highly entertaining with a lot of mistakes from each side as well. Turkey comes into this game on a decent form, 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses in the last 6 matches. But I think they should fear Iceland, who, despite not qualifying for the Euros, they're in a good run. Won 5 of the last 7 games in 2024, including a victory against England at Wembley just before the Euros. I know it's a friendly, but not many teams have won at Wembley against England. And actually, when we talk about England, we're gonna address that. And of course, Iceland have won the first game. I think Turkey have been a little bit inconsistent recently. They were fortunate to draw against Wales. Wales created a couple of good chances in Craig Bellamy's first game in charge. They didn't have a lot of possession, didn't have a lot of shot. They are unbeaten, by the way, Turkey, in the last 3 home games. But against Iceland, they have specifically struggled. They only won 2 of the last 13 games against Iceland and failed to beat them in the last 5 encounters. So I don't think there is a lot between these 2 sides. Iceland, they can be tough. Perhaps this could be a low-scoring affair. Maybe we both team to score. It could be a 1-1 draw, maybe. But I do fancy Iceland not to get beaten heavily here in Turkey. Asian handicap +1, 186 for the visitors. If they lose by 1 goal margin, you get your money back.
We saw many surprises in the first match day in the Nations League, so Dan is cautious, not going for the big favorites. Alvaro, would you agree?
I'm going to back Turkey, even though I agree with Danny. Iceland is not that bad. And the other day, they won their game. All the goals and all the good actions for Iceland, all of them came through set pieces. A goal from a corner, then another one like that, and then a penalty that was given to Iceland that then the referee called it off with the VAR, but everything came through the set pieces for Iceland. If they make the game be played in their terms, then Turkey is going to suffer. So basically, if Iceland Oportofies Turkey, and I'm saying this because Oporto is the kind of Oporto with 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐽 is the kind of team that makes the game very difficult for you. Remember what they did to Arsenal. If Iceland Oportofies Turkey, then Turkey is going to suffer. But I still believe that Turkey is favorite for this game. I saw them in the Euros. Not that I would fear them if they played against Spain, because in my opinion, they've got as many virtues as flaws. Without Arda Güler, they are obviously less sparkling. Then Baris got sent off, so Turkey is not going to have one of their strikers in the game. He got sent off in the previous game against Wales. But Turkey also conceded many chances against the Wales side. So I'm going to say that Turkey is going to win this game just because they are playing at home. But all that said, we have to say that, and it's time to say that already, that Turkey is the biggest underachiever in European football. I mean, I've seen Czechoslovakia winning a Euro. I've seen smaller countries winning a Euro. Turkey is the biggest country in Europe with the biggest population. The Turkish society is totally interested in the sport, in football, and the achievement is big. And the investment is big. But Turkey is a massive underachiever in European football. Hopefully one day they will balance all their means and all their assets with results, because so far they haven't done it over the last 80 years. But I'm going to back them to win. Turkey to win 162.
Semi-finals of the World Cup, no? Could be the best.
2002,
yeah,
exactly.
But even Portugal has won a Euro, or Greece, and they are small countries.
Well, Harry is going for Iceland double chance. This would be a huge surprise. Next games now. On Tuesday, probably the best game we are going to see in this international break, Netherlands, Germany, especially interesting after what we saw in match day 1 with Netherlands beating Bosnia 5-2. Circe, the new signing from Man United, scoring, Gakpo, Simons, and some problems in defense, especially with the league. Germany also a goal feast against Hungary, 5-0, everyone was scoring in that game. After the match day 1, if we check the results and also the style of play of these two teams, Alvaro, everyone should go for goals.
Yeah, I'm going for goals. Yeah, definitely, 100%. Over 2.5 goals, 168. I'm taking it. Both teams to score 160. I'm more than happy to go to over 3 goals as well. Look, these two sides, they have average over 2.5 goals in 5 of their last 6 encounters. And in 6 of their last 6 encounters, they have produced both teams to score. So I think that the odds are there. And we are not talking about encounters that happened during the Jurassic times. I mean, these are encounters that happened not very long ago. In fact, Netherlands and Germany, and this is something that I credit the Nations League for, did not face each other from 2012 until 2018. And they are neighboring countries with a great rivalry. For 6 years, they didn't play a football game. But since 2018, they have played an average of a game per year. And this is in part thanks to the Nations League, because the Nations League pairs up teams of similar levels in a league. So they have to face each other twice, at least, in the same competition. Netherlands beat Bosnia 5-2. The Netherlands team is very revitalizing for a few players like Cody Gakpo, who doesn't start for Liverpool, for Weghorst. Not for the league, though, who made a massive mistake against Bosnia. But Netherlands won 5-2 and Germany won 5-0. And this is a little bit self-explanatory. Germany is better than the Netherlands right now. They are more complete, both in defense and in attack. They play with more fluidity and they've got less mistakes in them. So I can understand why Germany has to be considered for this favorite for this game, or at least I do, even though the odds are pretty level. But Germany is slightly better than the Netherlands. They scored 4 goals in the second half against a team like Hungary. But still, I understand that this is some sort of European regional derby, and sometimes in these derbies anything can happen, a draw can happen as well, but they can see goals happening because history tells us that over the last 6 years, these two sides have scored goals against each other. So over 2.5 goals, 170.
The league named as the Dutch Maguire, I was seeing the other day. 𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐿, Netherlands to win under 3.5 goals. Civita is going for a draw. Danny, what do you think?
The only risks in this match day 2 of the Nations League of not seeing very entertaining games is that these games came right before the return of the league and the start of the Champions League. So if there are any players or managers a little bit cautious, a little bit with having something in their mind, maybe not to exert themselves too much, this could be maybe a game where you could see low goals, especially if there are substitutions in the second half, etc. And if they both are happy with a point. Let's not forget this, the formula of the Nations League has changed, so you can finish in the top 2 and advance to the quarterfinals. So not necessarily Netherlands and Germany need to beat each other to advance, even if they draw this game, and considering the group is fairly easy, given that there is Bosnia and Herzegovina, a team that has struggled to qualify for major tournament recently, so they can even draw this game. So maybe keep that in mind. But then Netherlands are exciting, with 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐿, Weghorst, Xavi Simons. They continue to be in a very, very good form. I mean, if you can cut the mistake at the back, I think they could have reached the final of the Euros. They were an entertaining side to watch. But what to be said about Germany? Life without Gundogan, without Toni Kroos, they are readjusting to that, but they got in Havertz, Musiala, Wirtz, such an array of exciting talents, and I think it is a team that they were second to Spain only for few margins. Had Taylor given 2 penalty for the handball of 𝐻𝐞𝐭'𝐬, maybe now we'll be talking about Germany winning the Euros, but in the end, this is history.
Still, Danny, still talking about this, please.
But, I mean, I think this
𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐿 handball, but
was offside, was a fall before.
It's a
but
small
Germany was really good in the Euros.
was really good.
Really, Spain didn't have a better opponent than Germany, and I
It's
do believe that
small margin.
No, and even more so. I think that it's a great team in the making.
Yeah.
Really, Germany has the potential to be the winner of the next World Cup. I really mean it.
The only issue is the centre back, I think, with Rudiger maybe not being there, Jonathan Tah. If they do find a younger centre back, somebody maybe in a couple of years that can step in, I think there will be a complete output. But Netherlands have scored in 38 of the last 40 games, so you could imagine them going and score. I think they still got frailties at the back. Van Dijk is not quite the player he used to be. You mentioned De Ligt, of course. Denzel Dumfries, very good going forward. A bit suspect when he comes to defending. Look, this could be a banana skin for bettors. I do still like the over 2.75 goals, 187. But there could only be 3 goals in this game. I think you shouldn't go too crazy because, again, sometimes teams of similar quality can cancel each other out. Over 2.75 goals is an Asian line. Only 3 goals in the game. You win half a stake.
Yeah, many times we expect so many goals and then we see a goalless draw, so we cannot discard this, especially if we check that the odds are better for the under than the over. 2 teams that we liked in the Euros, Germany and Netherlands, 2 teams that we don't like recently, Czech Republic and Ukraine. We said in our previous video that Czech Republic going to Georgia as favorites, be careful, and at the end they were thrashed 4-1 in Georgia after a poor Euros for Ukraine. Same deal, they were disappointing at the Euros with a good squad and they lost to Albania 2-1. So Danny, both teams arrive in a bad mood to this game. Probably
Czech Republic,
we are not going to see many goals, perhaps, here.
Difficult to imagine a lot of goals considering the Ukrainian are without Dobvik, the top goal scorer. Well, he wouldn't from Girona. You would not know if you watch him at Roma, but I'm sure the goals will come at some point for Dobbik. He's injured anyway. Disappointing the Czech Republic at the Euros. 4 matches without a win. The coach has a keys under pressure. This is a side that's been relegated from Nations League A, so you would expect the Czech Republic to be the stronger in the group. They don't quite look that way. I think Albania look a much stronger proposition in this League Nation B in the group. Ukraine, the mixed form as well. Surprise loss against Albania. They also miss 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 Mudryk, by the way. They might have do some changes here with 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 playing in midfield, Yarmolenko looking to play up front for him. Maybe 𝐜𝐭𝐻𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐝 might come back for the Czech. Look, these sides are evenly matched, 2 wins each and a draw in the last 5 meetings. They all both vulnerabilities. I think, again, this could be a both team to score game, but I don't think Ukraine necessarily are going to go there and lose. I don't understand why Czech Republic are so favorites here. Ukraine Asian handicap plus 0.25, 189. Again, if there is a draw, you win alpha stake, probably a low scoring game.
Good odds to back somehow Ukraine. We are not liking at all. Danny, Alvaro, Czech Republic recently.
No, I didn't like them in the Euros. I think that they were disappointing. They were missing many things, very rigid as well. Sometimes it looked like their best attacking asset was Vladimir Čufal, the player from West Ham United, just pushing forward from the right wing, and he's a right back. So, there's nothing about the Czech Republic right now that particularly catches my eye. I feel sorry I say the same thing about Ukraine, because I do believe that there is a potential in Ukraine. But on the other hand, there are things that we shouldn't take out of the equation. I mean, this is a country that has been at war for 2.5 years now, and this has to have an effect on players and on their families and in their mentality as well. And I cannot forget that either. But for this game, look, Georgia beat the Czech Republic 4-1 with their favorite weapon, which is counter-attacking. And the Czech Republic didn't know how to tackle that, didn't know how to stop that. And Ukraine, yes, they lost 2-1 to Albania. That was a disappointing result. Very telling, probably, because Ukraine has probably better players than Albania. But right now, Albania at least is more competitive. And for me, it's true that Artem Dobbik didn't have a good Euros, didn't have a great start at Roma. He hit the post a couple of times with headers that didn't go in at the beginning of the season. But he's still way better than 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐻𝐿, who was the striker in the last game. And not having Artem Dobbik is a big thing for Ukraine. Not so much not having 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 Mudryk, who is a little bit lost right now, but Dobbik could provide that difference up front altogether with 𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲, and it's not happening or cannot happen for this game. So, look, I'm going to be optimistic. I think that European football has a decent amount of goals normally, especially in group stages at this level. Over 2.5s tend to happen more than it did 20 years ago. So I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals, 208. But this game is not my favorite from this lot to bet. I think that there is more certainty somewhere else. But still, if I have to bet here, I will go for over.
Well, Ukraine to win and over 2.5 goals for Marco. There is not many certainties in this Euros. We saw San Marino winning a football game. We saw yesterday Gibraltar and Liechtenstein, for instance, 2-2. So even if you are betting in a smaller games, there are so many surprises. Luxembourg also losing at home with really good odds yesterday. And one of my favorite games to watch would be Albania, Georgia, because we really like their style at the Euros, pressing, pushing, very intense, counter-attacking. This is the football that we like, and it paid off in the Euros and also in the first match day. In the Nations League, Albania, as we said, beating Ukraine. Away, Georgia thrashing the Czechs. 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 still scoring with Georgia. Really good odds if you are back in Georgia. Somehow, Alvaro, when we checked, perhaps this is a good game for going for fouls, for cards, like a very intense game.
It should be. It should be. And I think there will be goals as well. Albania scored 2 against Ukraine, as I said in the previous analysis. And Albania had a very funny thing about them during the Euros. They were very good in the first 10 minutes of the game, and they were very good in the last 10 minutes of the game. That happened during the Euros. And it was like for the rest of the 70 minutes, they were just staying tight and competing, but they were only attacking and pushing forward at the beginning and at the end of the games. At the beginning of the game, they scored against Italy. Danny may remember it very quickly.
Yep.
And at the end of their games, they were producing a lot of chances too. If this is the strategy of 𝐬𝐭𝐴, I think that is kind of working for them. And they are entertaining, but they are not as entertaining as Georgia are. I'm going to say something here that may sound a little bit too much, but I think that Georgia can trigger some of the best counterattacks in European nations football right now. Really, because this is their plan. And they to perfection sometimes. The last time they played, in the last game, they won 4-1 at home, and all their goals and all their chances came on the break. Even the penalty on Kvaratskhelia that put them ahead in the game against the Czech Republic came from a counter-attack as well. Really, this is a side that has the strange ability to push forward with 2 strikers, 3 at best, and they can still kill you in the counter-attack no matter how many defenders you leave behind. It's very remarkable, and Willy Sagnol has done a terrific job with Georgia. I'm going to go for both teams to score. I'm hopeful for this game, 183.
Exciting game. San Martin is asking me indeed. Danny, are you as excited as I am about this
I think
game?
it's going to be a goals game. I mean, Georgia, a bit like Turkey, is a team that goes for it. Yeah, they do play in the counter-attack, but when they go for it, they really commit players. And it is a team that is not perfect, of course. They got some frailties. Maybe in defense, they tend to obviously soak up the pressure quite a lot. Whereas Albania, we know, at home they've been strong. They top the group, the Euro qualifiers group. And, outside of the Euro 2024, Albania won the last 3 matches. Are they such an informed team? Well, they only won 3 of the last 10. In the Nations League, Albania, they've been a little bit inconsistent, but certainly is a team that at home can score goals. Whereas Georgia, they won 5 of the last 7 games, but that strategy to be a counter-attacking team away from home is not quite paying off when they play against stronger opposition. In fact, they lost 6 of the last 8 games on the road. But I think here the teams are evenly matched, so they're going to have both chances. I do like a lot 𝐬𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐝, who's been signed by Lyon after a very good season at Metz. He almost saved them, and he scored at the Euros as well. Kvaratskhelia is having a good season with Napoli, but Albania as well have got good players in midfield, the likes of Asllani, Asani, and so on and so forth. And again, experience, his eye at the back. Georgia recently had a better record against Albania. They won 3 in the last 15. But as I said, Albania are strong at home. They didn't lose in those Euro qualifiers. They topped the group. I think this is going to be a goals game. Over 2.25 goals, by the way, 183, which I think maybe the bookies don't expect a lot of goals, but if there are at least 3 goals, you win. Only 2 goals in the game with the Asian line, you only lose alpha stake.
Okay, Marco is going for draw at halftime. And way less exciting is the last one, England, Finland. England won in Dublin the first post-Southgate game, with Carsley, some controversy around him singing the national anthem, mistakes about where to sit on the bench, and we saw Declan Rice scoring the first goal. Perhaps then it's time to see so many or some different players. We couldn't see Madueke, for instance, in the lineup against Ireland. We saw Kane, Grealish, Saka. So I guess it's time for them to have a rest and do some turnover changes, tests, proofs.
Well, the English media, if there isn't a controversy, they're very good at creating one. Nobody ever spotted Lee Carsley not singing the anthem when he was managing the under-21. Okay, he won a Euros with the under-21 England. He never sang the anthem, and he explaining why. There's nothing to do with the fact that he played 40 games for Ireland. is because he said, I'm in the zone, I'm focused. When I was a player, I just wanted to get going. I do not sing the anthem. I think about something else. Then obviously he played 40 games for Ireland. It's unfortunate that his debut is in Dublin, and a big case comes out. You can't force people to sing the anthem. You can't force people to do anything unless they want it. 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐿 is a good manager. He started well. And let me tell you that if he wins 6 games out of 6 in this very easy group with Greece, Finland, and Ireland, he takes England to the World Cup for sure. He's in the US, which could be a big gamble, a big risk for England. But you can't sack or you cannot get rid of a manager who's got an 100% record. So this Group B league for England could be a double-edged sword. If they do really, really well, which hopefully they hope to, they might have to give the job to 𝐬𝐽𝐻 based on the results, and we will never know how England will perform against stronger opposition. Because let's face it, England are going to walk this group easily. They're going to probably win all the games to nil. These are the sort of opposition that England have put away time in and time out under Southgate for the last 6 and odds year. All the qualifiers, all the Nations League. Well, the Nations League, no, because they never play teams of this caliber. They're going to win it. But if we're going to come back to the big question is how they're going to perform when it matters with big teams. Probably we will never know. We will know it in 2 years' time in the US, probably with 𝐬𝐻𝐿 if he wins all the 6 games. But, against Ireland, they did well. The start was strong. The handbrake looked off. I like the team selection. Gordon on the left, after in pace, in behind. Alexander-Arnold finally as a right back. And, England look good and Grealish as a number 10, but the options are so many for England with Palmer, with Foden left out, and you mentioned Madueke. So again, it's about selecting the right players in the right time. When it comes to Finland, 3-0 defeat to Greece, maybe a little bit large the result for the Greek. Radecki made a mistake for the first goal. They are winless in the last 3. They're very poor away from home, by the way. Finland conceded at least 2 goals in the last 4 away matches. They never beaten Finland in 11 games. And you're going to ask me whether 𝐿𝐴𝐽𝐻𝐿 is going to play. Well, of course he's going to play 𝐿𝐴𝐽𝐻𝐿. Probably in the second half. Now he plays in the US, no longer for Norwich, but probably the eye should be on Pohjanpalo. 𝐬𝐿 41 goals for Venezia, yet to score in Serie A. But I think definitely one to watch. Having said that, I think England are going to win this one easily. And I like the Asian handicap -1 in the first half for England, 2-13. 2-3-0 for England, 4-0. That's the result because 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿 wants to keep the job. And the best way to do it is to win all the games to nil. The job is his. See you in the US.
England -2.5 for Harry. Are you handicapping as well this England, Alvaro? Probably it's not a great game to bet on, we have to say.
I could handicap England, yeah. Answering to your question. And maybe it's not the best game to bet, but if you inflate your bet with goals, then you make it a little bit more juicy. For example, England to score over 2.5 goals in this game pays 180, and I really think that they have the quality to do it, and not only in the lineup, but in the bench. We have spoken many times about the quality that England has going forward. Bukayo Saka to score pays 2.7. He's going to most likely play, and he's a footballer that goes a little bit under the radar, but his scoring numbers are pretty decent with both Arsenal and England too. But this is a very interesting game. I want to see more of England because with Southgate there was a thing that was really annoying, was the fact that they didn't have a plan after scoring the first goal in important games, and then they just lost possession, they didn't attack more, and that costed them many times. With 𝐬𝐻𝐿, I want to see what they do. Maybe they are a little bit more daring and therefore better, but maybe England should stick to this manager because there is no formula in international football that tells you what is the winning combination for a team. Getting yourself a former Champions League winner like Luis Enrique, well, didn't work for Spain, and then De La Fuente came from the youth ranks and he won the Euro. Look at Scaloni. Did he have a lot of pedigree as a coach? No, but Scaloni won Copa America twice, and he won the World Cup as the Argentina manager. So there is no formula really. And then, of course, Italy won the Euro with Roberto Mancini, and Roberto Mancini had been a successful manager. So every narrative is possible in international football. And I think that England shouldn't overlook the possibility of keeping the manager that took them to win the European Under-21 in 2023 with very good players and with a very decent style, with 𝐬𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐴. I think that England is the favorite. Finland has had a difficult 2024. Pukki didn't play a minute against Greece, but I guess that he will play a little bit here. And Finland lost 3-0 to Greece. Maybe it's time to give a chance to Pukki just because he is still a decent forward, even though he's a little bit old right now, in the wrong side of the 30s. But I'm going to back England. My favorite bet will be England to win both halves. That pays 215. And yeah, that will be the one that I will single out from all the available odds.
Really interesting your opinion, Alvaro, and I completely agree about the formula of winning teams. When you are talking about national teams, everything can work or everything cannot work. There is no winning formula. Completely agree on that. Well, before we go with your safe bets and ACAs, remember that we have our tipster competition going on, annual, yearly, and monthly as well. So you can join our Oddspedia website for free. Post your tips. You can choose any sports, any competition, any event, and just post your tips completely for free. You can add your comment. You can select the different markets, and always you are going to see the highest odds. So you can go to your favorite bookie and place your bet. It's completely free to use, and you have the chance to win a cash prize, which is always very, very good. Well, Danny, your safe bet?
England to win 2-0 against Finland. That pays 173.
Alvaro?
England to win the second half, 145.
When they all gonna make all the substitutions. So with England, the C team to win the second half. That's daring.
I trust Livramento. I trust Livramento to
He might
me.
start. He might start. Yes,
Oh,
I agree with you. I think England wins easily.
Alvaro Saka?
Yeah, just very quickly. Sorry, guys, let me find it. Here we are. Albania, Georgia, both teams to score. And England to score over 2.5 goals in the game against Finland. Altogether, 329.
And Danny Fisichella?
Austria Asian handicap 0. Czech Republic, Ukraine double chance X2. England Asian handicap -2. Total odds 690.
Well, nothing is forever, guys. All dream teams comes to an end. Also, this dream team with Alvaro and Danny Fisichella sadly is coming to an end, or perhaps it continues, but in the near future, we still have one more video, Danny Fisichella, but it's been great having you both in our shows. Always the best to you, Danny.
Thank you.
And of course,
Thank you.
to
It's
you,
been a
Alvaro.
pleasure.
Always.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm gonna miss it a lot. Thanks for watching, first of all, and thanks for being with us.
And see you this week, both of you.
It's been a pleasure, guys. And Daniele, thank you very much for all these years. It's been a pleasure working with you. And, let's keep on making money for people. I think that you do that very well. So,
and for ourselves. That's very important.
Yeah. And for yourself, too.
You don't work for free. That's all right.
For yourself, because you've been wearing that polo for many weeks already in a row. So
no.
Financial issues.
Being clean.
Very, very important. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Alvaro. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.